Was Rome ever truly pagan? Did a Persian king once engage in a bizarre ritual involving the tearing of the shoulders? And could a volcanic eruption in the 6th century really have plunged the world into a mini ice age? Let's dive into a whirlwind tour of forgotten empires, baffling religious sects, and historical oddities that prove the past was far stranger and more complicated than we ever imagined. It began, predictably, with Zosimus, a name whispered in academic circles, a pagan historian deemed too inconvenient for modern sensibilities. Pagan, of course, is a loaded word, isn't it? Like a dusty relic carefully placed on a shelf, deemed unworthy of immediate attention. But Zosimus, a man who meticulously documented the decline of the Roman Empire, wasn't a villain. He was a chronicler, a witness to a world crumbling under the weight of its own grandeur. And to avoid the judgmental label, he simply became Roman, a quiet act of defiance against a narrative that sought to erase him. Think of it, a historian deliberately choosing to shed a label, a tiny rebellion against the forces of interpretation. Let's journey eastward then to the heart of the Jin dynasty, a land of shimmering silks and complex bureaucracy, transcribed as Qin, a pinyin convention, a deliberate choice to avoid the potentially confusing allure of ancient Chinese characters. Emperor Huadi, a name that sounds like a forgotten god, ruled with an air of quiet authority. And his successor, Emperor Ruizong, a name that echoed through the halls of power. Each emperor meticulously documented, each dynasty carefully charted. It's a dizzying system, a testament to the need for order in a world perpetually threatening to unravel. Imagine the sheer volume of scrolls, the endless debates, the constant struggle to maintain a record of everything that had ever happened. Then there's the matter of Christianity, or rather, the interpretation of Christianity. The central tenet, the incarnation, the idea that God took human form in the person of Jesus, is straightforward enough. But the Roman Church, a powerful and influential institution, had its own understanding, a tightly held belief that Peter, the first apostle, was the very foundation of the faith. Rome naturally became the birthplace of Christianity, a claim solidified by the flow of pilgrims and the weight of tradition. It's a fascinating power play, a strategic assertion of dominance within a rapidly expanding religion. Let's move westward to the turbulent borders of the Roman Empire, where the Scoti, a mysterious group of pirates, plagued the coastline of Ireland. The Romans called them Scoti, derived from a word meaning plunderers. But the Scoti weren't from Scotland, a crucial distinction easily overlooked. They hailed from Ireland, a land shrouded in myth and legend, a haven for these seafaring raiders. The name itself, a linguistic puzzle, a reminder that history is rarely straightforward. The Scots of the 4th and 5th centuries weren't Scottish, they were Irish, a fact obscured by the vagaries of Roman nomenclature. Now let's consider the complexities of China, a civilization stretching back millennia. The peoples of the peninsula spoke languages radically different from the Sinitic group of languages that formed the basis of Old Chinese. They belong to the Tungusic group, a linguistic divergence that highlights the fragmented nature of the ancient world. Think of it: separate languages, distinct cultures existing side by side yet somehow connected by trade, migration, and the relentless currents of history. And what of the military strategies of empires? The tearing of the shoulders, a gruesome custom attributed to Shapur II, a Persian king known for his ruthlessness, wasn't a display of sadistic pleasure. It was a calculated act of terror, a way to demoralize his enemies. The sword arm, the instrument of war, rendered useless, a chilling reminder of the consequences of resistance. It's a brutal detail, a glimpse into the dark heart of ancient warfare. Let's travel to Persia, where the throne was often a battleground for ambitious generals. Valerian, defeated by the Persians in 260 AD, and Decius, crushed by the Goths in 251 AD, names etched in the annals of defeat. These weren't just battles, they were shifts in the balance of power, the rise and fall of empires, the constant struggle for dominance. Imagine the Roman legions marching through the provinces of Pannonia, Dacia, Thracia, and Macedonia, a vast swathe of territory encompassing modern-day Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Bulgaria, Macedonia, and Albania. Illyricum, the encompassing name for this region, a geographical shorthand for a complex and contested landscape. Then there's Justinian, the emperor who attempted to restore the Roman Empire, a monumental task that consumed his reign. His law code, the Codex Theodosianus, a sprawling collection of legal principles that would shape the course of Western civilization. It's a testament to the enduring power of law, a reminder that even in the face of collapse, order can be imposed. Let's delve into the religious landscape of the early Christian church. The overseer or bishop, a senior leader responsible for the flock, a figure of immense authority. By the 4th century, each city boasted a bishop, a local representative of the Christian faith. It's a hierarchical system, a carefully constructed structure designed to maintain unity and control. Consider the philosophical debates of the time. Platonic philosophy, with its emphasis on ideal forms, clashed with the Christian belief in a single, tangible God. The divine realm, a realm of perfect ideals, contrasted with the earthly realm of human experience. It's a clash of worldviews, a reflection of the fundamental questions that have preoccupied humanity for centuries. Now let's venture into the heart of the Jin dynasty, a period of political upheaval and cultural flourishing. The Jin dynasty held power from 265 to 420, a time of both prosperity and instability. The latter half of their rule, when Jin power was pushed to the southeast, is known as the period of the Eastern Jin, 317 to 420. The earlier part of the dynasty, 265 to 316, is called the Western Jin to distinguish the two eras. It's a matter of chronology, a way to organize and understand a complex historical narrative. And what about the names of emperors? In China, emperors often adopted new names upon ascension, shedding their birth names in a symbolic act of transformation. They were then awarded posthumous names and later temple names, further complicating the historical record. Imagine the confusion trying to track the lineage of an emperor through a maze of names, each with its own significance. Let's look at the religious divisions of the time. Monophysitism, a controversial doctrine that asserted the mystical unity of Christ's divine and human natures, sparked a schism within the Christian Church. Nestorianism, which emphasized the separate yet united natures of Christ, further deepened the divisions. It's a story of theological disputes, of conflicting interpretations, of the struggle to define the very nature of God. The rise and fall of empires is often marked by shifting alliances and betrayals. The Theodosian dynasty ruled from 379 to 457, followed by the Leonid dynasty from 457 to 518. These dynastic transitions, a constant cycle of power and succession. Consider the story of Theodoric the Great, an Ostrogothic king who dominated the region of Pannonia, but he wasn't alone. There was also Theodoric the Squinter, a distant cousin who commanded a separate force. They were rivals, competing for resources, vying for power. It's a reminder that even the most powerful rulers are vulnerable to internal divisions. Let's turn to the diplomatic landscape of the era. The Nevarsek Treaty, a pivotal agreement that preserved the independence of Armenia, a testament to the art of diplomacy and the importance of alliances. It's a reminder that even in the midst of conflict, peace is possible. The peoples of the peninsula spoke languages radically different from the Sinitic group of languages. They belong to the Tungusic group, a linguistic divergence that highlights the fragmented nature of the ancient world. It's a subtle but significant detail, a reminder that the world wasn't a monolithic entity, but a collection of diverse cultures and languages. Let's consider the natural world. The Bora, a fierce wind that can sweep across the Adriatic Sea, a phenomenon explained by atmospheric pressure and temperature gradients. Frederick Singleton's meticulous research, a reminder that even the most dramatic events can be explained by scientific principles. The Roman provinces encompassed a vast and diverse territory. Illyricum, the name for the larger area in which the provinces of Pannonia, Dacia, Thracia, and Macedonia lay, the modern countries of Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Bulgaria, Macedonia, and Albania. It's a geographical reminder of the vastness of the Roman Empire, a testament to its reach and influence. Let's examine the legal system. The Codex Theodosianus, Justinian's law code, a cornerstone of Western legal tradition. It's a reminder that law is a powerful force, shaping the course of human history. The roles of Mary in the Christian narrative were defined by theological debate. Theotokos, the Mother of God, emphasized the divine nature of Christ. Christotokos, the Mother of Christ, highlighted the human aspect of the divine incarnation. It's a theological puzzle, a reflection of the complexities of Christian doctrine. Let's consider the White Huns, a misnomer applied to the Hephthalites, a nomadic people who once dominated Central Asia. The term White Huns is inaccurate, a reflection of the biases and misunderstandings of the time. The Liu Song dynasty, ruling in the southeast from 420 to 479, a period of relative stability and prosperity. It's a reminder that empires are not static entities, but constantly evolving. Let's explore the religious controversies of the time. Monophysitism, a doctrine that asserted the mystical unity of Christ's divine and human natures, sparked a schism within the Christian Church. The division within Christianity continued. Nestorianism, which emphasized the separate yet united natures of Christ, further deepened the divisions. The Theodosian dynasty ruled from 379 to 457, followed by the Leonid dynasty from 457 to 518. These dynastic transitions, a constant cycle of power and succession. Consider the story of Theodoric the Great, an Ostrogothic king who dominated the region of Pannonia, but he wasn't alone. There was also Theodoric the Squinter, a distant cousin who commanded a separate force. They were rivals, competing for resources, vying for power. It's a reminder that even the most powerful rulers are vulnerable to internal divisions. The Nevarsek Treaty, a pivotal agreement that preserved the independence of Armenia, a testament to the art of diplomacy and the importance of alliances. It's a reminder that even in the midst of conflict, peace is possible. The Slavs, initially called Geti, because they first appeared in the territory where the ancient Geti had once lived. It's a linguistic puzzle, a reminder that history is often layered and complex. The original homeland of the Slavs is an academic issue, which, like many having to do with ethnicity, is also political in nature. The Byzantine hold on patches of land in Italy would persist for centuries, with the relationships of the Byzantine loyal cities to the throne at Constantinople growing more and more complex, but the empire would never again dominate the peninsula. The tearing of the shoulders, a custom that seems to have been peculiar to Shapur II, did not necessarily kill the victim. Instead, it left the sword arm, used to fight against the Persian king, useless and dangling. The position of the church was defined by the way in which they referred to Mary. If in Jesus, God and man were mystically one, Mary was Theotokos, the Mother of God. If the divine and human natures were mixed together, she was instead Christotokos, the Mother of Christ. The Liu Song, also transliterated as plain song and as sung, ruled in the southeast from 420 to 479. The Jaman period runs from around 10,000 to 400 BC. Each period distinguished by developments in pottery style and advances in farming and other cultural attainments. The Yamato dynasty was divided into two parts, the Kofun period 270 c 538 and the Asuka period 538 to 715. Both names are designations for types of burial mounds used during these times. The Krakatoa eruption is, in my opinion, the most likely explanation. However, arguments have also been made for the eruption of El Chichon or the impact of a comet in North America. Teotihuacan is the name given to the city long after its fall by the Aztecs, who do not enter the historical record for some centuries yet. The city's ancient name is unknown. The decades of destruction, the length of the break varied from 60 years at some cities to as long as 120 years at others, are generally considered to be the closing years of the early classic period in Mesoamerican history. The conversion took place a century earlier under the king Qarib Assad ruled 385 to 420, but the weight of evidence seems to be with Dhu Nuwas. The story of Solomon and the queen of the Sabaeans bearing a son together is a fascinating tale, but it doesn't appear in the historical record until about the 8th century AD. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of the past, a glimpse into the strange and wonderful world of history. A world filled with forgotten empires, baffling religious sects, and historical oddities that challenge our assumptions about the past. But the question remains, was Rome ever truly pagan?